Alright, hey guys, it's Alarmo450, and in today's video I'm going to be giving a demonstration of the Apex Destiny 6100. We'll go ahead and take a look on the inside of the panel and give it a look. So here's the inside. You can see here we have our PCB, which is the brains of the system. You have like all your connections down here, all your circuit board things. And you can see here this panel actually has some status lights up here, and actually like tells the system status without the keypad being used. This is a really good kind of tool to have in case you don't want your keypad always beeping. This will basically give you a clue. But yeah, there's the status LED, and you can see next to it there is a program button. This is not a program button, by the way. This is actually just to reset the entire system. If you hold that down for a certain amount of seconds, you can just say that that's a reset button. It basically prevents the system from getting locked out entirely, which is one of the downfalls of the Vista panel. These things do not have reset buttons, so if somebody locks out programming on the panel and the backdoor method does not work, your Vista panel is bricked. So yeah, that's kind of a no-go. So thankfully this panel does not have that issue. And you can see here there's some stuff in here from when the panel used to be installed. I actually pulled this panel out of an office building, or the seller actually pulled this panel out of an office building and replaced the panel with a Vista Turbo. So this is their old panel here. And the panel did have the programming of the office building. There was a bunch of missing expansion boards, which were these things right here. They had a bunch of these things. I actually got 4 of these expansion boards here. I might be selling these because I'm not using them, and I probably never will. But yeah, there's that, and they're still here. Put that back. So yeah, this panel did have the programming of the old system that was in the office, and it did have a lot of missing zones. I think it actually went up to 100 zones, which is insane, and a lot of water, a lot of temperature sensors too hooked up to it. However, I did a factory reset of the system by using that button, and as you can see, there are no troubles to speak of. Down here are my connections. You got your telephone. You have your speaker connections and AC connections. Now, something you may notice is that there's no siren connection on this board. That's kind of on purpose because this panel actually has a built-in siren speaker. It has a little speech driver right here. That makes it so that there's kind of no need for a siren. However, I would also kind of like to prefer having a siren, to be 100% honest with you, being like used also with a speaker for the indoors, and then just having a standard siren for the outdoors that's using its own set of power. But I can kind of see why they did that, because using a speech driver and also using a separate siren kind of pulls a lot of power, so maybe that's why they did that. Over here you have your keypad connections and your 2-wire smoke connections and other setups. You can actually use an auxiliary relay right here. Now the keypads on this system, for the Vista, they are 4-wire connections. However, on the Apex, there's 6, because there's an extra 2 wires for the speaker, because the speaker is connected separately. Over here you have your zones. You have 16 zones available on this panel. I believe the 4100 takes 14. Apex Destiny 4100. They made this, the 6100, the 4100, and I believe they also made a Apex Advantage. I don't know if that's the exact name of it. I'll leave a name on your screen right now of the panel, and it will also include a picture of it. I do not have that panel because it's too expensive. The keypad is like listed at like $100. The panel is listed at like another $100, and all of the other parts are listed at like $100. Actually, I think the panel is more expensive, so yeah, that's a no-no. You see, I have 2 zones connected to this system. I did say that I wanted to expand it. That will probably happen later once I get my financial in check, because getting parts for these systems is extremely hard, unfortunately, because parts for this system are kind of getting they're kind of getting a little bit sparse, and along with that, they're really expensive. So yeah, there's the panel right there, battery and trash that I need to clean out. Now, something you may notice is that the panel case is actually the same as the Vista panel case. You can see they're an exact match, as you can see. The only difference is that the wiring diagram is different. This one has different stickers and wiring diagrams. And this one actually has this knockout still intact, and it actually has a key lock here. And versus with this one, the knockout here is punched out, and there's holes drilled in here because this system used to have the keypad mounted on here, but because of circuitry interference, I took the keypad off. So that's why this is just empty now. And there used to be a key lock on this panel. It was actually this right here. However, I took this off because it was broken. It's actually not broken. The problem is that the key is missing. It's actually gone for good, so cannot do that. So I took the key lock off. I'm probably going to get a different one at some point. Here is the wiring diagram for the system. Obviously, it's a bit different. We'll go ahead and shut this, and we'll take a look at the other stuff. So hooked up to this system as the main annunciator, I have the 6160 AP, which you can see here, this keypad actually looks exactly the same as this. The 6160P L3, made by Security Link by Meritech. You can see that they look exactly the same, nearly. This one is basically kind of like a non-voice version. It has the board of a 6160 first generation, but you see it has a silhouette of a message indicator and a microphone. Versus with this one, you can see it's basically this, but if it added a message LED. However, the LEDs are assigned for different things, and they're like redone and everything. Now, like I mentioned before, this system is supposed to be kind of like a higher end Vista system, and it kind of was, because this system actually has a two-way voice function. However, that will not be demonstrated because the microphone on this keypad is broken because the wires broke off. The soldering ended up giving out because this keypad came used. It was basically DOA when I got it. The screen was like totally trashed and the microphone was disconnected. I replaced the screen from one of my keypads that's also DOA. Basically, I can't use it because it will cause a system short. So I just took the LCD from there and just put it in here. The LCD was fine. The main circuit board was the problem. So yeah. But the microphone still doesn't work, so that's why two-way voice will not be demonstrated. In this system, you don't even have two-way voice. So yeah, there's the keypad there. And you can see there's a little bit of different button arrangements here. And a different little quick operating instructions. Anyway, here's the speaker for the system. This is a Honeywell Wave. Not a Honeywell Wave 2, it's a Wave. You can see it's missing the tone driver here. So yeah, I just have this here. This speaker quality on this thing is terrible. It basically shreds your ears upon impact. But the speaker is very loud though, so I guess it works. Transformer. It's actually the same transformer from the panel. I took the battery and transformer and just connected it here, because that's kind of what I do. You can see here I have two zones hooked up here. I have the front door and the back door. They are programmed alpha, so I'll go ahead and open them.
Front door open.
You can see I have voice chime enabled. And it says front door open and the status light flashes.
Back door open.
We'll go ahead and close that. And it will flash the zone name again, and then eventually it will stop. So yeah. Anyway, we'll go ahead and arm the system now. Now, how I have this set up, there's a certain programming little function thing that you can do where you can enable certain things that the keypad can do. Now, upon doing this, I've realized that I kind of shot myself in the foot here, because these keypads are set up so that if you enable one functionality like set, all the others are diminished. Like you can't use them like in the certain set. So like let's say in one set that contains 4 different options, I enable like voice chime, all the other things will not work in that set, which is kind of stupid if you ask me.
Okay, I'm sorry everybody, I don't think I explained that well enough, so let me go ahead and try again here. So basically in the panel's programming menu, you have a certain field where you can do system options. And in those system options, you have 4 sets of options that you can enable, which contain 4 or 5 options that you can turn on. Now, what really sucks about these system options is that you can only have one enabled, and that's it. So basically, if I turn on the system option that disables the exterior speaker and will also disable the interior speaker from raising its volume to the max setting on alarm, then the system option that makes it so you have to enter the code before you arm the system will turn itself back off, and all the other options as well. However, what's really interesting is that in System Options Group 3, the two that are circled on your screen right now are the two that are enabled when the system is defaulted. So how is that possible?
One of the sets I enabled was entering the code and then hitting the ARM keys. So if I try arming it, it won't do anything. But if I enter the code,
Arm 2 away. Control is disarmed.
it'll work that way. However, in the process of that, the entry delay no longer speaks. It just plays a continuous tone that's obnoxious. Let's go ahead and do a intruder test.
Arm 2 away.
And we'll go ahead and let that time out.
Front door open. Exit in 50. Exit in 10. Exit is over.
Alright, the system is now armed, in a way. So now if I was to open the front door, the system would go into entry delay. Zone 2, which is the back door, is programmed as immediate alarm, also known as perimeter. So once I open that door, it will just immediately go off. However, I'm just going to be using this sensor right here. Let's go ahead and do an entry test. I'm going to leave this open here. So we're simulating that somebody has opened the door and they're freaking out, trying to shut the system off, and they just leave on foot. However, they forgot to close the door and they forgot to shut off the system. So we're just going to let this time out here. It does a continuous beep for about, I think about 45 seconds is what I programmed it to do, or 30. And then after that, this speaker will kick on because it's hooked up to exterior, and this will raise its volume right up here.
Intrusion detected. Intrusion detected. Front door. Intrusion detected. Intrusion detected. Front door. Intrusion detected. Intrusion detected. Front door. Control is disarmed.
Alright, I went ahead and shut that off, and the exterior speaker has turned off. So we'll go ahead and then restore that. Now you may notice that the status light is still flashing. This is because we still have a memory in the system.
Front door alert. Control is disarmed.
So it's saying front door alert. However, you can see here that the status is not cleared. This is one of the issues that I hate with this system. The only way to clear alarm memory is to arm and disarm it. However, if you have like obviously the no kid zone kind of thing enabled, you know how like kids kind of sometimes like to play with these things. It basically you have to do this,
Arm 2 home. Control is disarmed.
and that's the only way to clear the alarm memory. In my opinion, and in Hunt's opinion, we find that it's stupid. I personally like it how you can just enter the disarm code twice on this thing, and it will just clear the alarm memory there. And on a Concorde, you just have to hit the status button twice.
Nope, that's wrong, because when you disarm the system, it will show the memory on the screen already once you disarm it, and then you have to hit the status button after disarming the system to clear the memory, and that's it.
We'll go ahead and do a home test.
Arm 2 home. Back door open.
Oops.
Arm 2 night.
Now we can do it instant.
Control is disarmed.
So there's that. I'll do fire.
Fire. Fire. Zone 96. Remain calm. Leave immediately. Control is disarmed.
Oops.
Arm 2 away. Control is disarmed.
So we had backdoor alarm and then zone 96. I don't have a smoke detector hooked up, so I had to do the fire panic. So yeah, that's basically it for the like the test of the system. Basically, there's nothing really else to test in this system because of like the limited features that I mentioned before. I plan on probably getting a motion sensor, a smoke detector, and maybe programming some other modes that this system has, because I don't have a physical manual of the system, but there is digital manuals online, and I did read them for like an hour to try to figure this system out, because this system is more complex. It doesn't really have a lot of descriptions. Like if you're in programming and you're trying to program the system on a Vista, it will describe like the programming menu kind of above, somewhat like the name of it and like other things that you can do. With this system, it's kind of a little bit difficult, so yeah, that's kind of my issue. But yeah, I hope to make the part 2 soon and show some extra features, and until then, that's the end of the video. If you guys liked it, give it a like. Sorry if this video was kind of a little bit bad, like kind of a poor take. I had to do this kind of quick because I'm on a tight schedule right now. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the video. So if you have a comment, like a little question, you can leave them in the comment section about the system. I already said if you want to give it a like, you can. And that's it. Thank you for watching.